Okay.
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 Are we revving up?
I hope so. Let's see.
In the olden days of television, when you turned on the TV set, it had to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
It took time before you finally got the first blip of light. And
In fairness, I'm the same way. So you turn it on, it takes me a little while to get functioning.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see.
You're just like a console TV set from the 50s.
When I describe myself, that is often how I do it. Yes. Let's see.
My goodness.
Have you seen what happened in Paris?
No.
Well, let's see. The Louvre was forced to close after chainsaw-wielding thieves pull off 7-minute heist, escape with jewelry worth millions.
Oh, I read the headline in broad daylight.
Yeah. Apparently they were fixing something, like the museum is in the process of fixing something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they just went and did that. So yowza. You know, what'd you do today? I robbed the Louvre. Insane. Absolutely insane to me that happened. But here we are. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, and good night to all. Hi, Lucas. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Nick. Hi, Arthur.
Kevin says
Hello.
he's loving my new book.
You have several folks saying that, which makes me very happy. Have you seen House of Dynamite? You did.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a minute.
You did the other day.
So several new movies.
Yes. You and Mommy have started the trek uphill of trying to keep up with all of the movies that are coming out. And yesterday you had when did they announce for LAFCA what you guys voted on?
It hasn't been announced yet.
Okay. Yesterday
he
he had a LAFCA meeting, which is the Los Angeles Film Critics Association, of which he is a member. And they had their big meeting for one of their awards. So you got to see, Logan, you got to see some of your film critic pals and cohorts.
And a few newcomers that I didn't have time to say hello to because I sort of got there at the last minute and then had to race out of there.
Yep. But here we is.
Big
one. 1 second, Lucas. 1 second, Lucas. Sorry. Come on, little fella. Maltin Falcon. This is flying pachyderm from Philo, Illinois. Hello, Jonathan. Nice to have you with us. Oh boy. Okay, Lucas says, hey, Leonard and Jesse, I have some questions for you guys. First of all, about Rick Baker, since it's almost Halloween. And Rick and his family do their show every year.
You don't know about their current activities.
Also attend his Halloween airfare. Sorry, 1 second. Rick's Halloween shows in Leonard. Do you guys know? I don't know how Rick likes to be contacted. Yeah, I don't know how Rick likes to be contacted. He's very active on his Instagram. I would guess something like that. He is. He's very, very, very active on his Instagram. I will look now. And he loves it, which is so much fun. He really loves making, oh, look at that. Is that one of his 3D prints? Speaking of which, oh no, he got an award. There you go. He got a Horror Fest award. I thought maybe that was one of his pieces. I don't know if they're going to be doing one of their shows. What Lucas is talking about is almost every year, Rick and his family put together quite an extravaganza at their house in Toluca Lake, and they do either some kind of a show or something where they're all dressed up and they look incredible.
Yes.
Yes, we're on YouTube. A few people are talking to us from YouTube.
Good.
Rob 3, how many zeros? 30,000. Rob 30,000. So yeah, they do that most years. They have a blast. They prepare the makeup for months in advance to figure out what they want to do. And then, yeah, they put on a little show out in front of their house. Toluca Lake, which is where I grew up, where our home was for many, many years. That's how we know Rick Baker. They live down the street from us, and I became good friends with his daughters. And I'm still good friends with his daughters and his amazing wife, Sylvia. And Rick is just one of the nicest people in the world. So I've known them since I was 5. Yeah, they're the best. And Rick is so insanely talented.
Yes.
But also incredibly humble and an extremely hard worker.
Right.
And someone who has taken on many mentees. He has mentored so many people.
I prefer
over the
proteges,
years.
but mentee seems to be the current word.
You can call them proteges if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an amazing guy, and he does amazing things.
He learned too by example. He wrote a fan letter to Dick Smith, the great makeup artist.
Yeah.
Who most famously known for The Exorcist, for Linda Blair's horrific makeup in The Exorcist. But he was a staff makeup artist, I think, at NBC in New York.
Yeah.
Did whatever came along, anybody needed aging for a TV drama or something like that, he would do.
Yeah.
And I know that J.J. Abrams also wrote a fan letter to Dick Smith and asked how he got some effect with the tongue.
Yeah.
And Dick Smith sent him the tongue.
Yeah, that's what sounds about right.
That's the kind of guy he was. He wanted to share his discoveries and his secrets.
And that's the thing, is a lot of people, especially in these niche is the wrong word, but very specific industries, they love sharing what they do and how they do it. It brings them joy to do that. Because they love getting to talk about it, and they love also because, especially when you're speaking to someone else who does what you do, talking about different techniques, trying different things. Say one of the things that Rick loves now is using 3D printing. That's become one of his passions, is 3D printing, and he has a blast doing it. And I love
which didn't exist during his formal career.
Yeah, and it's so much fun to see now what he's making and having fun with. So yeah, he's the best. I don't know if they're doing anything this year. His youngest daughter just got married, so it may just be that they haven't had time to come up with a whole look yet, but we'll see. A few people are asking about Halloween and if we have any Halloween traditions.
My current Halloween tradition is turning the lights out so no one will ring the doorbell.
True.
That makes me sound like a Grinch. I know.
No, but it's the case because this neighborhood gets no trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
So in Toluca Lake, you get literally thousands upon thousands of people coming. They bus kids in.
Yeah.
Because
they know this rich
flat
pickings.
It's flat. It's well lit. There's a lot of houses giving out candy, and there's tons of kids, and it's very safe. So just the number of people that come by is mind-blowing. If you are purchasing a house in Toluca Lake, the person selling it has to tell you about Halloween. It's actually required because it's such a big thing. So we grew up with that, and I really loved it. I deeply, deeply loved opening the door and seeing all the kids.
Then there was the year that I opened the door, and there was Conrad Veidt as the man who laughs. In other words, Rick Baker in a perfect replica.
Yeah.
Perfect replica of that horrific visage.
Yeah. Which, once you've seen Rick's Halloween stuff, it's hard to look at anybody else's. But we did that for years. And then the neighborhood that we moved to, we've lived here for now, Mommy said 11 years. I really can't believe it.
It is.
But here there's nobody trick-or-treats in this neighborhood. So we don't have that anymore. We do not have that anymore, unfortunately. No, we were not at New York Comic Con. We've never done New York Comic Con. The only cons that we've done are here, LA Comic Con, WonderCon, which is in Anaheim, and then San Diego Comic Con, the big boy. Someone was asking if you've ever met or had anything to do with Svengoolie or Elvira. Elvira, yes, many times, because she used to get her nails done at the same place my mom did. So I used to see her as Cassandra Peterson, all the time. And she's still out there. God love her. She's still out there she works. I have never met Svengoolie. Have you? No Svengoolie, but yes to Elvira. My friend in Van Nuys gets 300 to 400 trick-or-treaters. Yeah, it just depends on the street. Our street, all of the houses are kind of back a little bit, like the driveways here, and then the houses are all back. So it's not a great trick-or-treating street. It's also very dark on our street. There are very few street lights, so we don't get anybody. So I've taken Daisy to trick or treat with her friends in Burbank. That has been, yeah, we did that last year. We'll do it again this year. We just have to avoid, there's a couple of houses in this area of Burbank that go all out, all out. And Daisy was absolutely terrified. So we just have to be wary of that. Kevin says he thought of us watching Tucker and Dale vs. Evil yesterday. I am so glad. We love that movie.
What a good movie.
It's such a good movie. It's so well done. God, I love Alan Tudyk so much. He's just one of my favorite humans on the face of the planet.
And there's a note from our pal Mark Evanier,
who said Leonard did a great panel at Comic-Con with me.
I had a great
Sure
time.
did.
We had fun together.
You guys always have fun together. It was just the two of you talking. That's what it was. It was the two of you talking. A few folks are asking about Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
And
people are bummed. People are really bummed.
That's the thing.
We didn't know she was ill. She didn't make it public, obviously.
Part of it is the shock.
Right.
Which is that none of us knew she was sick. So it wasn't like we were all preparing for the loss. And that's a piece of it. But then beyond that, just the fact that she's someone that I think for especially film lovers, she was in at least one thing that you loved, at least one thing that meant a lot to you. I am absolutely a First Wives Club devotee. I love it so much. I really do. And she's been in a lot of other things, but that is for me, the first thing I think of is I love that movie. I love her so much. Do you have a favorite?
Well, Annie Hall. Probably.
Yeah.
Annie Hall stands out not only because she's so good in it, and it's such a wonderfully written movie, wonderfully performed, but also it's where she established her signature style.
Her look. Yes.
Her style, which morphed, in different ways over the years.
Yeah.
She didn't need a costume designer to tell her to look individual, to look like no one else. She just had an innate sense of, of fashion, whatever you want to call it, style.
I love the Father of the Bride movies. And this is very much, I think when someone has a career as long as hers, which is 50 something years, when her different films came out, how old were you? When did you see them? I love the Father of the Bride movies. I love them so much. And part of that is the age I was when I saw them both, falling in love with Steve Martin and especially Martin Short. I love Martin Short. And that was such a big thing. So, those movies are very much a part of my childhood. And so that, again, obviously there's all the other things that she did, but those three movies, First Wives Club and then the two Father of the Brides, have such a place in my heart that that's what I go to when I think about them. Evanier, you're out of control. Calm down, Evanier. Yes, Woody Allen wrote a lovely piece about Diane Keaton. Yes, he did. I sent that to my parents. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read it. It was very,
I actually got to see her on Broadway.
Yeah.
Because I saw Woody Allen's original production of, not his production, but his play, Play It Again, Sam.
Yeah.
Which is where they met.
Yeah.
And she was cast as the leading lady in that. And it was such a good show, such a clever and funny show. And Woody was great in it. And the movie is very good. And the movie gets ignored because it's not a Woody Allen movie. Herbert Ross directed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Woody wrote it, and he wrote it for himself, and he stars in it. So it ought to be considered a Woody Allen movie.
Yeah.
And it's really good. But that's where I first, saw her.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of her career, the first mark of success in her career.
Amazing.
And she just got better and better.
Yeah. Nick is saying that he's hoping that she would have made a cameo in Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
Which is a bit surprising. Yeah. Because so many people have been on that show and have done their cameo bits. Arthur's asking how you felt about her performance in Interiors.
Oh, it's been too long. I can't remember her specifically,
her
contribution to that film. I remember going to see that on its opening day in New York. Alice and I
Yeah.
went over to the East Side to Cinema One or Cinema Two on Third Avenue uh, to be there the first day to see it.
Mm.
And what I remember from that mostly is Maureen Stapleton. It was Woody's first drama, very Ingmar Bergman-esque drama, and it was very good. I haven't seen it since.
Chris is saying, don't you think adults like Halloween because they have an excuse to terrorize their children? And in parentheses, I don't have children, for the record. No, I think what's very funny about things like Halloween, things that kids sort of learn about and get into. Last year was the first year that Daisy had any idea what Halloween was. And she'd never trick-or-treated before. So going trick-or-treating was one of the funniest experiences of my life. I think it's a parent rite of passage to sort of do that, because we walk up to the first house. It's her and one of her little best friends, Robin, and they're holding hands and they have little buckets, and they walk to the door and they knock and the door opens and they say trick or treat, and someone puts candy in their bag, and they turn around and walk over to us and they go, more? And then we walked for like 3 hours with these two little kids, these two 3-year-olds, both just turned 3. And they were like, this is the best day of my life. My favorite part being at school, when we went back to school the next week, all the kids said, why do we only do Halloween once a year? And I thought that is a very logical question, because what kid doesn't want, hell, what adult doesn't want to dress up crazy and go and get free candy? Like, yeah, why would we only do it once? So this year, again, asking Daisy, what do you want to be for Halloween? Do you want to go trick-or-treating again? All that stuff. It's fun to see her get excited. And even to hear the kids asking each other what they're going to be for Halloween is very, very cute.
Yeah.
Hearing them all go to each other, what are you going to be? What are you going to be for Halloween? It's adorable. It's really something lovely. And it's a blast to sort of go through it. Jeffrey's asking, favorite and underrated horror movie in your opinion over the years?
Underrated. Yesterday, your mom and I just watched Frankenstein, because John Carpenter was introducing it with Ben Mankiewicz on TCM.
Yeah.
And,
you have to clarify which Frankenstein.
Well,
you just did.
James Whale's Frankenstein, 1931.
Yeah. The Frankenstein.
The Frankenstein. It's so good. It's just so good. It's very simple. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
And Will Jordan, late comedian and mimic, did a great bit about Boris Karloff auditioning and going for a reading and turning the script pages, page 7, page 11, but he's awfully good in it. And Colin Clive, who was not an actor you would call subtle, plays Dr. Henry Frankenstein. But he so inhabits the character.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't make fun of him in that movie, which is easy to do. But I think it's wrongheaded, because he is that man obsessed.
Yeah.
And to the exclusion of everything else in his life, including his fiancée.
Yeah.
Played by Mae Clark. It's just a really, really good movie. And at the beginning, when they show the cast list, it says the monster played by ? And then when they repeat the cast at the end, because if it's a Universal picture, a good cast is worth repeating. Then it says Boris Karloff.
Very funny. I mean, I think that there are the obvious, like, there's never a bad time for Young Frankenstein, right? Any time of year, never a bad time for that movie. We do love the original Universal monsters. And I'm definitely someone that in my head, if I close my eyes and picture, I do picture Boris Karloff. I picture Bela Lugosi. I picture those. To me, I just don't think that you get much more perfect. Again, depends on what you were introduced to, what your first one was. Like I always talk about with Batman and Superman, we all have the same, we pick something out. This is what I think of for this. This is what I think of for that. So all of those movies are fantastic. I will tell you that to this day, the scariest movie I've ever seen was The Man Who Laughs. I stand by that. It's the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's terrifying. I still picture moments from it, even when I try not to. In terms of fun, we love Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. It's a great, fun movie.
I like Shaun of the Dead.
We love Shaun of the Dead is great. The whole
anything with humor in it.
The Cornetto trilogy, Hot Fuzz, and all those. They're wonderful. I think it just
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm. It depends on what your style is. Obviously, we always say we like suspense. We don't like gory.
We like eerie films. The ghost stories.
Yeah. The only is saying that Tucker and Dale is gory, but with a purpose.
Yeah.
Like it's gory because it's meant to be funny. And so it works. You still cringe at moments, but there's at least a reason for it.
Yeah.
Versus just sort of being gross and scary to be gross and scary.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, it was Thanksgiving weekend and Chris Rea was in town. And that's the son of one of my dad's oldest and dearest friends. And Chris was here. He spent Thanksgiving at our house. And he said to me, "Do you want to go see Saw, the first Saw movie?" And in my head, I was like, absolutely not. Why would I ever want to see that? But out loud, I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, Chris, I'll go with you. Of course. I did something that I had never done to that date, which is willed myself to sleep. I was so disgusted, upset, all of it, that I just sort of sat in this chair up at Universal and I willed myself to sleep. And when it ended, he woke me up. He went, "Are you okay? Did you not like it?" And I said, "Oh, I was just tired." Did not like that at all. Did not like that at all. Not a fan.
Someone's asking about my ring.
Yes, which I lovingly call his pimp ring.
It's not a class ring. No, I'll take it off my finger. I don't know, 25 years ago or so.
Yeah.
A guy who was a real serious fan of the Lone Ranger obtained the rights to create jewelry, specifically a ring.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that when they put this, it moves. Did it always move?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Just checking.
Yeah.
So I was going to tell you that he's not in the right spot.
Yeah.
Forgive me for interrupting. I just noticed something specific. So on the one side, it says Lone Ranger, and it's got his little mask on it. Okay. It's got the little mask. It says Lone Ranger.
It says the Lone Star badge for the Lone Star State, Texas.
And then there's the little star on that side. And then on the front, you've got this.
Rearing up Great Horse Silver.
Yeah. Hi-yo, Silver, away. So yeah, I call it his pimp ring, but he loves it and he wears it all the time. If you listen, as you get older, as she gets older, you'll have to go trick-or-treating with a pillowcase, greater tensile strength and less chance of breakage. She has this giant unicorn basket thing that I don't think you could break if you tried, but I very much appreciate the thought. And yes, of course, I will check all of her candy. She doesn't actually like candy, oddly enough. She just likes the concept of candy. She likes the idea of someone being given something and for free. Leonard, how do you feel about the Hammer horror?
I never got into the Hammer films. They started coming out in 1957, I think, was The Curse of Frankenstein. And they played theaters at the time I was starting to go to the movies. And I saw their version of a Phantom of the Opera with Herbert Lom. And I found it boring. And I said, I don't need to see these films. So I never really pursued them. And it's something on my to-do list. My long, long rainy day to-do list is to become acquainted with the good Hammer horror films with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee et al.
Yes, What We Do in the Shadows is a fantastic film. It is one of my favorites. I recommend it, obviously, wholeheartedly. It's glorious. Will you be doing a tribute episode to Diane Keaton on the Movie Guide podcast?
We have recorded it. It just hasn't been posted yet.
They did it the other day. As I say, it's so interesting with someone like Diane Keaton because it really is, with long careers like that, what's the first thing you saw her in? What do you remember seeing her in? For anybody in my dad's age range, the Woody Allen stuff was so pivotal
Yeah.
in establishing who she was and what she looked like and all of that. And there's something just wonderful about being known for those things. And then in my case, again, because of the Father of the Bride movies. So I went to school with Nancy Meyer and Charles Shire's daughters. When they were together, they are the Meyer Shires, and they're the ones that directed those films. So their daughters are in the movie. So that was always really fun for me to find them because they put them in all their movies. And then a number of kids I went to school with are in those movies because they cast them in everything as all the extras. And so on and so forth. And then knowing Nancy and Charlie, Charles Shire. So it sort of just adds to all of it, it all comes in. Do you have a favorite Wheeler and Woolsey comedy, Mr.
Well,
Maltin?
funny you should
Get
ask.
him started on Wheeler and Woolsey.
Funny you should ask. Yes, it's Diplomaniacs, 1933, which came out. There were three what I call nonsense comedies that came out within a year of each other. $1 Million Legs, which takes place in the kingdom of Klopstokia, with W.C. Fields.
Pardon me, obviously.
Yeah.
Go on.
And an all-star cast of comic actors. Then Diplomaniacs and Duck Soup. They're all of a piece. They all sort of are making fun of European wars and the concept of war. And Diplomaniacs is one of them. The one chance I had to meet Joseph L. Mankiewicz, the man who won Oscars for writing and directing A Letter to Three Wives and All About Eve, I said to him, I'm a big fan of Diplomaniacs, which no one else would mention among his credentials. He said, Henry Myers and I wrote a funny script. We were very proud of that script. Then they added those stupid musical numbers. And I told Ben Mankiewicz that, and he said, yeah, that sounds like my Uncle Joe. Yeah.
Yep. Very funny. Gary says, hi, just joined in and just watched Blackbeard's Ghost.
Okay.
Excellent.
I just watched episode 1 of Mr. Scorsese, Rebecca Miller's new 5-part, exhaustive and illuminating documentary about Martin Scorsese, done with his complete cooperation. There's home movies, there's old snapshots and things. It's really good. I can't imagine the rest won't be as good as this introductory episode. So interesting, so very interesting. So interesting how the things he experiences as a kid and as an adolescent in his formative years, they all turn up in his films. Everything is related in some way, directly or indirectly, to his early experiences.
Yeah.
He was going to be a priest, and then he and the priest who was supervising him decided that
not a good call.
Not a good call.
Not a good call. It's not for everyone, is it?
Yeah.
Not going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
Zach saying, I can't find it online. I know this is a departure from the current conversation, but what is your opinion on Full Metal Jacket?
Oh.
Come here, Bear. Come here, Bear.
I like it. Vincent D'Onofrio is unforgettable in it.
Yeah.
It's cold, the way Kubrick films often are. I would have to think about it a little while to give you a better, fuller answer.
And there you have it.
There you have it.
Vincent D'Onofrio, there's another interesting career, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he started off as just being creepy. The Cell is such a wild movie. And then at different points suddenly became like soft and weird, like you're a weirdo, but we love you anyway.
He's so strange. He's so strange in Men in Black.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
A bunch of the stuff was just so odd. He always came across as so odd. And then
Rick Baker told me that when he made him up for Men in Black.
Yeah.
As this kind of alien who's been like
who's full of worms. Yes.
Yeah. Vincent said he thought that because he gained and then lost so much weight for Full Metal Jacket, that made his skin especially pliable.
How funny.
Rick's not sure if that's true or not.
Right, but it's a fun story.
Yeah.
So what am I thinking of what's the show?
Well, he's been on The Godfather of Harlem for several years now with Forrest Whitaker.
Yes, and he was in Emerald City. What's the one in my?
Well, he of course he plays Orson Welles.
Yes.
Very briefly in Ed Wood.
Yes. No, I say he's had such an interesting array of things. There, well, he was in Law and Order: Criminal Intent. So he went. I couldn't remember which of the things he was. So Law and Order: Criminal Intent. It's nuts because, as I say, he went from being this real creepy kind of odd guy to then doing that and having to be sort of like this stable, detective. Just interesting, isn't it?
He's an actor.
So interesting. Yeah, of course.
Do more than one thing.
Of course. It's just, it's neat, again, when you have someone who's working for such a long time to see them go from this thing to this thing to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I feel when there's somebody, my mom and I were talking about it yesterday. I still can't believe that Leonardo DiCaprio is in his 50s. Numerically, it makes sense because I am 39 years old, so he would have to be that old, but it just doesn't seem possible. You know what I mean? And so to think that, as you're watching someone, you start watching them and they're a kid. And then at some point they're old enough that they can play a parent. And then at some point they're old enough they can play a grandparent.
Yeah.
It's just nuts to think that we can watch that I can look at you your whole life and see these different versions of yourself.
Exactly.
I just think it's really, really neat. Sorry, Ken says, sorry to keep bringing this up. 1 second, Ken. I'm very excited about Jerry Beck shared that the old Mighty Mouse cartoons are going to be on Me Tunes and with Heckle and Jekyll old Terry tunes. Jerry is the keeper of many of those things. He's been working hard to try and get them out.
I don't think it's telling tales out of school to say that he has spent the last 20, 25 years trying to convince Viacom, now Paramount,
now MGM, now I'm just joking, but not, but a little bit.
Trying to convince them that they own those characters.
Yeah.
And they own those cartoons. They don't have to clear anything. They own them.
Yeah, just use them. You have them, just use them. Yeah, it's a wild one. Vincent D'Onofrio had also directed a Western called The Kid, co-starring Ethan Hawke. I remember that. They had worked together in the 2016 Magnificent Seven remake of a remake. Yeah, no, I remember that he did that. As I say, he's an interesting guy. But yeah,
Ethan Hawke gives an incredible performance in a new movie called Blue Moon, directed by Richard Linklater. And written by the same fellow whose name I've just forgotten, who wrote Orson Welles and Me, or Me and Orson Welles.
Me and Orson Welles, yeah.
And it's an extraordinary performance because he's playing Lorenz Hart.
Robert Kaplow.
Yes, Robert Kaplow. Lorenz Hart, half of Rodgers and Hart, the great songwriting team of the 20s and 30s. They wrote My Funny Valentine. They wrote Blue Moon. They wrote so many wonderful songs. But he was a closeted gay man who wallowed in self-pity and put all of that into his lyrics.
Yeah.
And Ethan Hawke, who looks nothing like him, becomes him in this movie. And at a certain, I got to talk to Ethan briefly in Telluride.
Yeah.
And I said, after a point, I didn't see you on screen anymore. I saw Larry Hart. And I meant that as a major compliment, which he took it as. And it's just a remarkable performance in a film that is not perfect because it starts feeling like a play at a certain point. But it's so done with such care.
It's interesting that Rick did it.
Yeah.
Because that's not something I would have imagined him to direct.
And apparently he and Kaplow and maybe Ethan as well have been working on for the better part of a decade.
Isn't that wild?
They've been poking around, working
That's
on the
wild.
script and trying to, improve it.
Rick Linklater and Ethan Hawke are similar in that in person they're like Muppets. What do I mean by that? They are these sort of loosey, like they're so relaxed and silly, and they do not take themselves seriously. And they're both Austin. It's just a very not necessarily what you would expect. Friendly and warm and all good things. Especially, I mean, Ethan Hawke is the warmest. He's just so kind. But yeah, Rick is just a super unassuming Austin guy.
And he has another new
and
film.
You'd never know. Yeah.
Nouvelle Vague, which I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
About the making of Breathless.
And it's mostly in French.
Yeah.
Which is also really interesting. And we talked about that. We have to email him or something and ask. I have so many questions, like, because I wonder, it's like, was somebody telling him what they were saying? Was someone translating?
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, no, I know, but I want detail. I want more, Leonard. I want to know more. I want to know what happened.
All right. Well, if you haven't seen yet, One Battle After Another, you're missing one of the best films of the year. And it is so far the best film I've seen this year. And, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. I haven't loved everything he's done, but I respect and admire everything he's done because he puts himself wholeheartedly into these movies.
Yeah.
Well,
again, I think that he's very much someone where it's not a waste of time. You may not like it, but you can at least appreciate aspects of it.
Yeah.
And that, to me at least, is important. He's trying to give you something interesting, even if you don't like it.
And here he my feeling, it may not be the truth, but my feeling is he has absorbed what's going on in the world the past 10 years, let's say. And he took one of two paths.
Yeah.
One path is he could have just screamed in utter frustration
and run the
agony.
Other way. Yeah.
Or he could have tried to funnel it through his art.
Yeah.
And that's what he chose to do.
Yeah.
And this film is the result. It's not about anything specific. There's no names mentioned.
Right. But you get the gist.
You get the gist. The world has gone mad.
Yeah.
And so you might as well make it a world of absurdity.
Gray was very excited because she saw Jean Smart at the No Kings rally in Studio City. And I just had this image of if I saw Jean Smart, I've only gotten to meet her once. And when I did, I kind of just blah, blah, blah at her because I love her. So yeah, the idea that she was standing on Ventura Boulevard with a bullhorn just brings me great joy.
Yes, I empathize and I agree.
Right.
Yes, it is based on a Thomas Pynchon book, Vineland. I tried reading Thomas Pynchon years ago when I was in college, and I could not get through that book. I forget which one. V, I think, was the one I tried reading. Yeah. He was too dense for me.
Too dense. I love Leonard's episode on Important Cinema Club. Pardon me. Will he be making a comeback on that podcast? Which podcast is that? Because I don't know. Help.
What was I discussing?
He does too many interviews. Help. Also, what is your favorite Wheeler and Woolsey movie?
Hips Hips Hooray, which aired not long ago on TCM, which is a musical comedy.
Makes him happy. I don't have a particular favorite. I don't watch them all that much because you don't watch them all that much at this point.
No, and my wife refuses to watch them.
Yeah. It's got two Canadian guys. He was promoting his book at the time. Highly recommend. But you don't know. I'll look up what this podcast is. Important Cinema Club. I don't know. What's the best music composer biofilm you've ever seen?
None of the above.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so hard to dramatize something that is so interior. You know, how does a person compose music? One, by himself or herself, you know, and in their own world, their own interior world. How do you dramatize that? It's very hard.
Yeah.
I don't know which is worse as a Cole Porter biography, the one with Cary Grant,
These people?
or the one, I don't remember, or the one that they did called The Lovely with Kevin Kline.
Yeah, that was a
They're both
not good. DeLovely was panned.
Yeah.
People really did not like DeLovely.
I like the new John Candy documentary.
Yeah.
Called I
So
Like Me.
Craig, who always has a list.
Don't make me pick which one.
No. I'm just going to go through because he always asks what you've seen.
Okay, House of Dynamite.
Have you seen Good Fortune? I'm going to go through
No.
it. Have you seen Good Fortune? Yes, you and Mommy watched the John Candy doc the other day. Mastermind.
Not yet, but I like Kelly Reichardt's work.
It was an accident.
No.
House of Dynamite, yes.
Yes.
Roofman, yes, they liked it. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
No.
After the Hunt.
No.
Kiss of the Spider Woman.
These are all on my to-do list.
Yep.
I have to say that somebody set off the firing gun for award season
way early.
A month and a half early.
Way early.
This year. Even now, we were still in what I call mid-October.
Yeah. No, we're not supposed to be this deep into this. We're not supposed to be this deep into this right now.
This should be mid-November.
Yeah.
Having this conversation.
Yeah. Ken is asking, film critic etiquette question. If you fall asleep during any part of a film you are watching to review, are you then required to not review it until you go back and watch the parts you slept through? And that's an interesting question. He's never done it. I fall asleep constantly. My theory is that because I was raised in movie theaters, they calm me deeply and I just pass out. So I have fallen asleep on my dad many times in theaters. You have never done it. My mom too. My mom falls asleep all the time.
I did it once years and years ago.
Yeah, but there once.
Yeah.
For the 8 billion movies you've seen, you did it once.
It was a Robert Altman film. I can't remember which one. It was a late Robert Altman film. And I fell asleep and I went back to see it a week later and it was just as boring as I thought it was.
There you go. That's not 1 second. Sorry. 1 second. There you go. Jason says, been loving your movie guide podcast, especially hearing how much more you love Superman and Jurassic Park. Got me to revisit both and felt the same way.
I'm glad. That's good. That's a good result of listening.
Yeah. Most films about artists working are a rough slog. It's true, Harrison.
For the same reason.
Yeah.
Because how do you get inside the head of any artist?
Yeah.
Ancient or contemporary?
No, I think it's, you look at all the different ones because they try. God knows they try. What's the Cate Blanchett one that's not that long ago? Where she says the line you like to the kid that's bullying her kid.
Oh, Tar.
There you go.
That's about a conductor.
I know, but I'm saying it's you try all these different versions, and I don't know. I think it's just hard. I think unless someone like Ed Wood is unique, crazy person.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of easier to do that because you're going to make it a little ridiculous. I mean, that's the thing is that biopics are hard anyway. There's only a handful that really work.
Yeah. And Tar is about a fictitious person.
Yeah. But something like Walk the Line. In general, really good. In practice, also again, skips a bunch of stuff, leaves a bunch of things out. So,
but the last film that James Mangold did, the Dylan movie.
Oh yeah. I'm Not Here.
The one that came out last year.
Yeah. It's the one with Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. You'll all know the name and you'll be yelling it on the screen. A Complete Unknown.
A Complete Unknown, I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really good. Now, people who are more familiar with Bob Dylan than I am might think differently, but I thought that really did capture his mindset and his evolution. How he reached the crossroads artistically, and made a choice to go in a certain
James Mangold
direction.
has such an interesting and random filmography. You know, every time I look at it, it's just he starts with Heavy, then Copland, Girl Interrupted, Kate and Leopold, Walk the Line, 3:10 to Yuma, Wolverine, Logan, Ford v Ferrari, Indiana Jones, A Complete Unknown, into Lucid Presents Driven. It's just interesting. And then the stuff that he's produced too. It's just like it's just an interesting random array of things.
Ken, I another exception, Maestro, about Leonard
I was
Bernstein.
going to ask if that's one of the ones that you would.
I think that's another exception to the rule. I think that really did give you a sense of Leonard Bernstein and his inner demons and his challenges and his triumphs and his failures.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very imaginatively done. Yeah. And I think that Bradley Cooper did a superhuman job.
In terms of people who are not real, Mr. Holland's Opus is one of the greatest movies ever made. And when you get to the end and he conducts his symphony, it's just, again, talk about seeing something at a certain time in your life. I saw that when I was younger, and it had a real effect, especially because I'm such a music nerd. And if you get me started on music nerdness, I can go hard. Watching that even then had such an effect on me. And I still remember, you know how you'll have a flash of a movie scene in your head that just sticks there? For me, it's him crying while conducting and finally hearing his piece. Yeah. And you go, oh, that's amazing. He liked House of Dynamite. He liked Roofman. He liked the John Candy doc.
I liked House of Dynamite very much, although Catherine Bigelow makes a bold choice in the way the film is constructed. She builds to an incredible crescendo of suspense and then pulls the rug out, sort of. I won't explain how, but it sets itself right and just barely gets away with it. But she's a very talented filmmaker. I had just seen Failsafe on TCM a few weeks earlier, to which it bears a strong resemblance because it's covering the same topic. The setting off the nuclear warhead, and what are you going to do about it? It can't be stopped. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to deal with it? And they take different approaches. Henry Fonda plays the president in Failsafe, and Idris Elba plays the president in House of Dynamite. They're both well cast for the time period. Roofman is about is a true story. Now, how true in every detail, I don't know, but you can look it up. You can read about this guy who was a fugitive from justice, abandoned his family, went on the lam, and had to land somewhere, and landed somewhere where he establishes a new identity for himself and a new reality. A friend with whom I had dinner last night said he thought the guy was really a bad guy, a bad person. He said he ruined 2 families, and he's not wrong.
Well, it's so tricky. Someone is 1 second. Let me go back up so I can see it here. Alan is saying, I know these films really are much more fiction than a real biography, but my favorites are the Jolson story, Yankee Doodle Dandy, and Rhapsody in Blue. Well, again, you have these kind of, again, like with Walk the Line, the stories are true-ish, the happenings are true-ish, right? But then there's so much more in there than what you can even begin to try and share. You know, there's just a lot. That's Stephanie says, after 10 years of Trump, I feel Dr. Strangelove as a farce is a far more accurate depiction of nuclear calamity than Failsafe as serious accident. The absurdity is so real.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it was true. That's Stephanie Asher, by the way.
Yeah. Well, hi.
As in the twins of, yes.
Hello.
Yes.
It was true then, and it's true today.
Yeah.
Of Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah.
And sometimes gallows humor, as they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Black comedy is the best way to deliver your message or your point of view.
Yeah. I always go back that for me, a movie I love that I never thought would feel so real is Idiocracy. Watch Idiocracy and you will just sort of go, no, this can't. Oh God, yeah, no, this is kind of accurate. This is really accurate. It's terrifying for sure.
I saw also this week we watched The Ballad of Wallace Island,
which I really, really want to see.
A good movie. A good movie. A movie. It's a serious movie, but it's lighthearted and very well done by people I'm not familiar with. I didn't know the filmmakers, or the leading man who was also the co-writer of the movie.
Yeah.
And the second, or the co-lead, is the other writer of the movie.
Yeah.
It's quite good. Carey Mulligan is the only easily recognizable name in it. It's really a 3-character piece.
I'm now trying to remember that. Hang on, The Death of Stalin.
Now there's a movie.
God.
See, if you're using that as a yardstick, that is a great comedy, a great screen comedy.
We saw that.
Written and directed by Armando Iannucci, the creator of Veep.
My dad's a huge fan.
Thick of it, and
huge fan of Armando Iannucci. It's actually one of the few times I saw you get a little nervous, which is funny. When we met him at Fantastic Fest, you were sort of like, I'm a really big fan of you. It was very cute.
Yeah.
We saw it in, again, a way that would be wonderful if we could see most movies like this. So at Fantastic Fest, which just happened in Austin, Texas, they do secret screenings. And they really are secret screenings. You do not know what it is. There'll be 1 or 2, and you just go in, sit down, whatever. We had just, in the loop, we had just interviewed Elijah Wood on stage for our show, for our podcast, finished, and
raced.
No. Elijah Wood said to us, do you want to go to the secret screening? And we were like, if Elijah Wood's inviting me to the secret screening, I'm going to the secret screening. You know what I'm saying?
But we had to race down the hall. Too.
Yeah, no. Well, but they walked us because they'd saved seats for him, and we got in. We went in with him. So we sat down. So even that, by the way, the fact that I watched it sitting next to Elijah Wood is a memory I will never lose. But we knew absolutely nothing. The film starts, and we didn't know anything. And then you watch this fantastic, terrifying, hilariously funny, and the cast is just like top notch, some of the best people you've ever watched, and it's Armando Iannucci, so it's just brilliant. And God, that was an experience. That whole thing was an experience.
Even Armando Iannucci hasn't topped that.
Yeah, no, that's something else. That's another level of movie.
Yeah,
just fantastic, but also again slightly terrifying. Yeah, it's weird. Speaking of true fiction, I wonder if we'll ever see a movie of Mario Puzo's The Fourth K, or did you ever read that novel?
No, I haven't read that.
Idiocracy's president was still superior as he deferred to those with knowledge and experience. Jason Isaacs in Death of Stalin is a riot. Yes, and Andrea Riseborough. Andrea Riseborough, my favorite thing about her is that nobody recognizes her because she somehow just always looks different. And so she is like the truest of character actors in that sense, that she can be in 12 things and you don't know. No, Jason Isaacs in that movie. I love Jason Isaacs anyway. Yeah. I love him. Yeah. And he can do anything. Yeah. He can do anything.
I'm glad he didn't win the Emmy, but I'm glad he got recognition.
Yeah.
For White Lotus.
Yeah. No, God, he's so talented. He's so funny, and he's a nice Jewish boy, which matters to me and my mother. But he's
a nice man.
He's very nice.
He got up at 6 a.m. to do a live.
I know.
Zoom with my class.
Yeah.
After I think Death of Stalin.
Yeah, it was.
And it was very kind of him.
He's a lovely man. He's very, very good. So as some of you have mentioned that you're liking reading his new book. If you don't
Speaking
know,
of which,
it is this guy right here. Every movie is a miracle, which is something that we say all the time here in this house. and part of why, I should say, part of why we say it is, and it's something that I really think you learned through class, his teaching at USC, with all these different people who come through, producers, directors, art designers, music supervisors, every possible part, every possible piece of a filmmaking machine have come through his class.
Composers,
everything.
Yeah.
And sound editors, everything. What you learn very quickly is no one sets out to make a bad movie.
Nope.
They do not mean to do that, which is part of why I think people appreciate your reviews, because you don't try to be mean. Sometimes if something's bad enough, you can't help it. But in general, you will try to find positive or something to compliment, because so many people work on these movies and there's so many details. And then you also find out, as you talk to people, that many films they've worked on these films for years, the scripts for years, all of this getting it made. Very few movies are written in 2024, made in 2025, and come out in 2026.
Yeah. Almost unheard of.
It can, but generally, even on a short term, it can be 5 years. It's like, so everybody puts so much in to these movies that you really do go, Jesus, every movie is a miracle. If your movie is finished, you actually finish it, and then it gets some kind of distribution, whatever distribution that may be, streaming, releasing it yourself, whatever, it's a miracle. You've done that. And so you should be really proud of yourself that you finished a movie and that it exists.
True.
So,
very true.
Harrison's asking how you collaborated with Nat. And the answer is they had a conversation over the course of months.
Yep. It's a long conversation.
Yep.
Nat sort of knows me and knew the right questions to ask to get me to talk about my experiences. And that's what it is. And I put in a lot of pictures too.
Yeah. There's some good ones in there.
Yeah.
But that's what Nat came over many times over the course of a few months, and they just
talked for like 2 hours.
They just talked.
But then he did a superior job of collating and editing.
Yeah.
And organizing it.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't seem random.
Yeah. But that was it. Is the two of them just talked and figured it out.
And then he read my memorial piece on David Lynch, which I posted on the website, which you posted on the website.
Which I posted on the website, yeah.
And he said, we should reprint some of these. So in the back of the book, there's about 100 pages of my writing about people who I composed memorial essays about. And there you are at age 5.
I was going to say, I did not give you permission to use this photo of me with June Allison. How dare you? How very dare you, sir? Look at that. Yeah, there's some great pictures in here. Some really wonderful pictures in here. Because, man, you've been doing this a long time.
It's true.
And there's so much to see.
Cannot be denied.
So many memories. So many memories.
Collectible
so many
time.
Experiences.
Collectible time.
Yeah.
Today, it's money clips. Apparently, there was a time in show business when it was common to give crew gifts at the end of a shoot. I don't know if they still do that or not.
A lot of the big ones do.
Okay. But here is, I never hold this up right for the camera. Okay, there it is. There's a Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis money clip. And when I first met Jerry Lewis backstage in Las Vegas, my wife said, show it to him, show it to him.
How many times have you lost this, by the way?
Twice. And he laughed. He said, that wop never wanted to do that. He said, never wanted to give out stuff like that. Quoting him directly about Dino. Here's a keychain with Bob Hope. This is a cigarette lighter of Bob Hope.
And we've talked about this before, but Bob Hope, his house was up the street from our house. And growing up, one of the big things in Toluca Lake was that he gave things away. He made special stuff for Halloween every year
with his caricature
on it, and he would give those away. And so, and then at some point, he and Dolores would come out and take photos with people for Halloween.
Danny Thomas.
They would come out and take pictures. And so one of my assignments when I was finally old enough to trick or treat by myself, one of my assignments that my parents took very seriously was I had to go to his house, and I had to make sure I got at least one of whatever it was he was giving away on Halloween to bring home to my dad.
That's Jack Lemmon, and it's the Al Hirschfeld caricature of Jack Lemmon.
Yes, it is.
That's the sort of the youngest person I have.
Yeah, very funny.
In this array of stuff.
Very funny. No Ninas in this though. No Ninas. By the way, if you want to get your kids into, forget Where's Waldo. If you want to get your kids into something cool, teach them about Ninas. Teach them about Ninas, and I promise you, they will look at art in a way they never have before. It's a game. I don't remember how old I was when you first told me about the Ninas. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Al Hirschfeld, the famous caricaturist who's been gone for a while now, but didn't he live to 100?
Oh yeah, almost 100.
Yeah. He is very famous for doing all these different kinds. I mean, since what, the 40s, 50s? When?
I think in the early 50s he started putting his daughter Nina.
Yeah. But I said, but he's been doing these caricatures since forever.
Yeah.
And he did all kinds of stuff. So you would see Broadway casts, anything you can think of, film casts, just tons and tons and tons and tons.
For a couple of decades, the Sunday New York Times.
Yeah.
It was a ritual to get the Sunday Times, go to the arts and leisure section, as it used to be called, and on the front page of that section would be a Hirschfeld caricature, usually of a Broadway play that had just opened or was about to open.
Yeah.
But then he did hundreds of other caricatures for movie releases, for TV guide covers, for everything under the sun.
And at some point, he started putting in his daughter's name, Nina.
And he's called, there's a documentary about him called The Lion King.
Yeah.
Pun on the Lion King. And he was a master of the ink, pen and ink form. So he often had a lot of lines for hair, let's say.
Or a bend of an elbow or anything.
Yeah.
And so he started putting his daughter, Nina, started putting the name into things, to the point where they would actually say, at the bottom where it's signed Hirschfeld, it would say 4 or 5 or whatever it was. And that's how many Ninas were in there. And as I say, as a kid, finding the Ninas was like the most glorious thing. You learned that there were certain things he did consistently. The bangs, they were often in the bangs. They were, if there's a curve of an arm like this part, that you'd put them there. So you learned where they were generally, but you just sit and you'd count your Ninas. And I know it might sound silly, but it's a great way to get kids to stare at art. And to look at something like that maybe otherwise they wouldn't care about. It's still something that brings me great joy whenever I see a Hirschfeld, as I look to see if there are any Ninas in there. It makes me very happy.
Craig, I look forward to seeing Ben Stiller's documentary, and
which will be available next week, we were saying.
Yeah, it's in theaters now.
Yeah.
In a handful of cities, and it will be online in another week.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I'm going to get to see the Mark Maron documentary, Are We Good? But I look forward to that too. And let me say publicly that I already miss his podcast, the WTF podcast.
Yeah.
His interviews his conversations really have become a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
He did one with Paul Thomas Anderson that is just sensational. And he really knows his movies too. And he would say to Paul, Magnolia, what was that about? And Paul would say, well, that's about my father's death. I mean, that's the underlying motivation for the film.
Yeah.
It explains a lot.
Yeah.
And he did that throughout his interview career online.
It's crazy.
And he's the reason that I'm podcasting.
Yeah. It all comes from that. Ken says, but thanks for the tip on collecting old movie tie-in sheet music.
Mhm.
Found some Hope Crosby on cover of Moonlight Becomes You from Road to Morocco at a flea market.
That's where
which
you
is
find
great. This exactly that, and that's where they are. Did he start out as an animator at MGM during the early 1930s? Hirschfeld.
No, he was never an animator. He did artwork for MGM in the 30s.
Mm.
That's where he did Laurel and Hardy
Mm-hmm.
and Charlie Chase
Mm-hmm.
and even Our Gang. But he never signed a contract. He never wanted to be tied
To anything.
exclusively to
Yeah.
anybody.
There's our friend Miles Kruger, who is the American Musical
Institute of the American Music.
Thank you. That was his big thing, is you could commission them, and was like $20,000, some large amount of money, and Miles did it for a birthday at some point, and it's one of his most prized possessions.
Understandable.
As it would be, because it's a Hirschfeld. What more can you really ask for? Pretty amazing, honestly.
And if you're somebody who browses online, go to the Al Hirschfeld Foundation, and you can see hundreds, if not thousands,
literally
hundreds of pieces of artwork.
One of the coolest moments being at Norman Lloyd's house was he had some original Hirschfeld in a newspaper type of thing on the wall from some of the movies that he worked, and just sort of seeing it there and having it be him and all the, it was just really amazing. Is the, or you know what? That's the time when awesome fits. How about that?
Yeah. Seeing
a Hirschfeld in Norman Lloyd's house and knowing that he's had it framed since 1902, you know, it's pretty incredible. Really something special. The good news is, with Marin's show ended, I now have 3 hours a week freed up to delve into the 2014-2020 Maltin Movies archive. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we have all of our backlog.
They're all there. It is. I have to tell you, it's surreal at times. I'm watching a movie and 3 people in the movie are people that we've interviewed. And I have that. And my husband is bored of me getting excited about it, because like, we interviewed them. And he's like, yeah. And it doesn't really do anything for him, but made me laugh. My husband is having quite the experience. He is currently in Austin, Texas, working at the big F1 event, Formula One racing. And getting reports back and photos of cars has been very entertaining, and made me think of stuff like Ford v Ferrari and all the other movies, and F1, the Brad Pitt movie that came out earlier this year. It is fascinating, and to see how many people are out there. And I mean, these stands are packed.
I'll bet.
They are packed.
I'll just bet they are.
And it is expensive to go. And just seeing the reactions to it, I find the whole thing so interesting. Apparently, one of the most popular things to get are these special headsets that drown out the noise, because it's deafeningly loud, but play the commentary. So now I just kind of have in my head, almost like seeing a silent movie internationally, of all these people sitting with these headsets on and doing that. It's just bonkers. Speaking of Norman Lloyd, kind of wild seeing William Daniels on Dancing with the Stars this week, for sure. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars, but obviously I saw the clips. Danielle Fishel, who was on Boy Meets World, is a contestant. Yeah. And this week was, I guess you were doing dances dedicated to someone who meant a lot to you. And she chose everyone's favorite teacher, right? William Daniels. Yep. So yeah, seeing him on there, pretty crazy, and also wonderful, because isn't it great to think that, you know, this generation should also know who he is.
Yes, and we watch him every July 4th when they TCM show 1776.
Yep, it's crazy. My town just had a car show with over 100 cars, and it was free to see the antique cars. That's awesome. Yes, to say my husband has been sending many videos and photos of these cars and the races, and it could not look more boring to me, but my God, people love it. So he is having yet another interesting experience somewhere else. Just nuts. For us this week coming up, we're going to go, AFI is starting the film festival, AFI Film Festival, and we are going to be going to see the Springsteen movie, the Bruce Springsteen film, and I'm very excited about that. We will not be here next Sunday because it is Daisy's birthday. Daisy will be turning 4, and we will have a house full of toddlers. You can run away if you need to. So yeah, we won't be here next Sunday, but we'll be back after that because we have to celebrate Miss Daisy turning 4.
Unbelievable.
Completely unbelievable. I really can't. It blows my mind. So everybody, please be safe. We will see you after Halloween, I guess. You can tell us what you wore and if you trick-or-treated. Thank you always for joining us, folks. We love being with you. And take good care of yourselves.
Thank you. And if you have a mind to
this. Get this.
Take a look online and find every movie is a miracle.
And most importantly,
be kind.
That's the one.